Hey everybody, it's been a while since the last video, IRL things and all that. I've been streaming daily on Twitch, trying to push content there a little more, so YouTube has taken a bit of a backseat, but we're back. Today we're going to be talking about Lady Vashj and her story throughout Warcraft, World of Warcraft, all up until Shadowlands. If that seems like something you find interesting, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and check out my Twitch, where I stream 5 days a week, World of Warcraft, but also a variety of other games. Anyway, let's begin. Lady Vashj was born in the Highborne city of Vashj'ir, as the daughter of matron Lestharia Vashj, the city's beloved ruler. At some point, Vashj came to the Night Elf capital of Zin Azshari and became one of Queen Azshar's personal handmaidens. Vashj considered it her birthright to serve Azshara. She copied the queen's hairstyle and clothing as much as possible. When the queen made Vashj her foremost handmaiden, remaining in the queen's favor became Vashj's sole concern. She was described as quite beautiful, with exotic feline eyes, although she was still not as beautiful as Azshara herself. When the Highborne were contacted by the titan Sargeras, Azshara was enthralled by Sargeras' vast might. Like the queen, Vashj looked forward to his arrival on Azeroth. Both women were certain that he would find Azshara irresistible. The queen did indeed possess amazing charisma, and she doubtlessly enhanced it with magic. With a quiet word or a mere glance, Azshara could inspire any number of violent emotions. Passion or rage were her favorite choices. Driven by the sudden outbreaks of jealousy, her subjects occasionally squabbled over her affections and fought duels in the name of her honor. The queen was amused by such displays and did not always intervene to save combatants from harm. It was precisely this sort of possessive fury that affected Vashj when Azshara and her handmaids paid a visit to High Priestess Tyrande Whisperwind. Tyrande had been captured by the Burning Legion and imprisoned in the palace. On a whim, the queen offered to make Tyrande one of her handmaidens, but Tyrande politely declined, saying she was sworn to Illidan before all others. Azshara was irritated by Tyrande's refusal, however diplomatic, and departed shortly thereafter. Vashj could not forget the queen's offer so easily. The memory became a torment. Despite the fact that Tyrande had refused the queen, Vashj came to see the priestess as a rival for Azshara's affections. Irrationally certain that she had to act, Vashj tried to kill Tyrande, but failed. Vashj then fled the prison cell before her attempt on Tyrande's life could be discovered. Despite the Highborne's attempt to aid the Legion in summoning Sargeras, the ports to the Twisting Nether was ultimately closed before Sargeras could reach Azeroth. The Well of Eternity was unable to withstand the added magical strain, and it began to collapse in on itself. Under the sudden impact, Zin Azshari and the well were blasted downward toward the ocean floor. The well pierced the planet's molten core just before utterly being obliterated.
No! I am queen. This is the empire I built.
It is over.
Ancient Kalimdor was split apart, and the seas rushed in to fill the voids between the new landmasses. Azshara, Vashj, and quite a few other Highborne were caught in the rushing waters. Instead of drowning, however, Vashj and many others were cursed and transformed into Naga. Despite her subsequent mutations, Vashj has managed to retain her memories and personality. She has also become immortal, and she is not the only Naga to receive this unexpected boon. Sometime after the Third War, the demon lord Kil'jaeden contacted Illidan Stormrage, who was on Azeroth. Although Illidan had worked against the Legion's interests in the past, Kil'jaeden was willing to give Illidan another chance. If Illidan destroyed the Frozen Throne, Kil'jaeden promised to grant anything he might desire. Accordingly, Illidan sought out new allies. He cast a powerful spell that reached the depths of the ocean, and a group of Naga, led by Lady Vashj, responded, calling in some old Highborne depths. One and all, they pledged themselves to Illidan. The Naga did not come because of the history they shared with the former Night Elf, nor did they respect his demonic power. They came because the old gods willed it, and they sent them to make sure his campaign against the Lich King succeeded, so that it would spark a new war on Azeroth. If their former Night Elf became troublesome, they could simply command the Naga to cut out his fell-corrupted heart. Their first act of loyalty was to facilitate Illidan's escape from Azshara in Kalimdor, and bring him to the Broken Isles and the tomb of Sargeras. When Maiev Shadowsong confronted Vashj, the sea witch inside of the tomb, she told Maiev that her justice had no place here. And when the warden demanded how she would know anything of the Night Elven way, Vashj replied by telling that the Naga were Night Elves once. She then slithered off to join Illidan in the Chamber of the Eye.
Enough, little warden. Your vaunted Night Elf justice has no jurisdiction here.
What would you know of us or our justice, Naga witch?
Why, my dear, we Naga were once Night Elves. We were Azshara's chosen, The Highborne, banished beneath the cruel seas when the well of eternity imploded around us.
Impossible.
Cursed, transformed. We have waited 10,000 years to retake our rightful place in the world. And now, with Lord Illidan's help, we shall.
Not while I draw breath.
Your courage is commendable, but it shall avail you nothing.
Illidan and the Naga retrieved a magical artifact known as the Eye of Sargeras. To use this eye, Illidan needed an additional source of magic. He located Dalaran and sent Vashj ahead to Lordaeron to scout the ley lines. When she arrived, her presence was noticed by the Lich King, who sent the Scourge out to the ruins as well. Illidan and Naga sorcerers later channeled a destructive spell through the eye in order to destroy the Frozen Throne. Vashj and her Naga were awed by the display of raw power. However, their attempt was thwarted, and Illidan made a hasty retreat to Outland in the hope of evading Kil'jaeden's wrath. Many Naga died during the attack, but Lady Vashj and her surviving Naga had managed to slip away from the fighting and take shelter deep within nearby Lordemir Lake. Illidan ordered her to find new allies for his army while he would scout Draenor. At Illidan's direction, Lady Vashj and her Naga sought out the Prince Kel'Thuzad Sunstrider and his group of Blood Elves. Kael had been under the oppressive whip of a human general named Garithos, who had sent Kael and his people on missions that any layman could do while keeping the elves from the front lines. Kael first encountered Vashj when he found the shipyard ruined, and thus his means across the river scuttled. She approached him with an offer of assistance. Kael was hesitant, having fought the Naga alongside Maiev at Dalaran, but Vashj insisted, and Kael accepted. Vashj watched Garithos rage at Kael's dealings with her, but Garithos then sent Kael and his elves against an invading force of undead. Kael was eager to prove himself in battle, but Garithos recalled Kael's support, siege and cavalry units up to the front lines, leaving Kael with a very meager standing force. Vashj felt that the time was ripe to intervene, and she offered her troops to strengthen his own. Kael was again hesitant, but Vashj insisted that it was better to survive than to obey the word of a rash tyrant. Together they defeated the undead forces and recaptured their bases. When Garithos approached, Kael ushered Vashj away, saying he could not assure her safety. She did, but watching as Kael and his people were taken away in shackles, supposedly for betraying the Alliance by siding with the Naga. Vashj infiltrated the dungeons of Dalaran through a sewer system and found Kael, killed his guards, and freed him. She then told Kael that escape was possible through the remains of the gate Kel'Thuzad had erected to summon Archimonde. She helped Kael escape the jail and killed jailer Kassan, robbing valuable items from the magical source as they went and freeing his people from their cells. Upon reaching the streets, however, Garithos proceeded to assault the portal with his forces, and after a perilous defense, they fled through the portal to Outland.
The elves' magic is useless inside those enchanted cells.
Greetings, Kael. I assume we're not too late?
On the contrary, Vashj, your timing is impeccable. Once again, I am in your debt. But even if we free my brethren, there is nowhere to run. Garithos' forces outnumber us 10 to 1.
You stand at a dangerous crossroads. You can either stay here and be slaughtered by human hands, or choose a darker path to freedom.
What is this darker path?
In the city above us stands a portal, a gateway that leads to other worlds. My master Illidan awaits us on the other side of that portal. Lead your people to him, and he will forge you a new destiny. He will sate your people's burning hunger.
Side with a rogue demon, or lead my people to their certain deaths. There is no choice here, Vashj. We'll have to free my lieutenants first. They'll be able to rally the others while we assault the exit.
As you will.
When they came through the portal to the shattered landscape of Outland, Vashj explained that it was once the homeworld of the orcs, but the destruction had turned it into a barren, broken waste it now is. And that Illidan was somewhere waiting for them. Vashj and Kael searched fruitlessly for days until Vashj got a familiar scent on the wind. Illidan had been captured by Maiev and was being hauled back to her base in a magical prison wagon. Vashj and Kael battled Maiev for dominance, but finally reclaimed the wagon and brought it back to their base, where Illidan was freed. Illidan thanked Vashj for her loyalty, but Vashj gave credit to Kael. Illidan then told them of his plan to rule Outland by overthrowing their current ruler, Magtheridon. And so Vashj and Kael defended Illidan as he closed the dimensional gates that supplied Magtheridon with his reinforcements. After they were all successfully closed, Illidan's armies marched on the Black Temple. Vashj and her Naga infiltrated the aqueducts and attacked the Black Temple from a side entrance, as Akama and his Broken destroyed the automated defenses. Vashj was responsible for killing the Mistress of Torment with aid from only a few Myrmidons and Snapdragons for support. Eventually, they battled their way to Magtheridon and in a titanic battle, defeated him. But Kil'jaeden appeared and mocked their foolhardy attempt to betray him. He then commanded that they find the Frozen Throne and destroy it. Vashj, Kael, and Illidan went back to Azeroth and advanced upon Northrend, only to be met at every turn by Arthas and Anub'arak, Ner'zhul's prime generals. The battle came down to single combat between Illidan and the Death Knight Arthas Menethil. Arthas won the fight and warned Illidan to leave the planet and never return. To the next years, Lady Vashj still served her master Illidan in the wastes of Outland. After Gathio surveyed the defenses of Black Temple and found a weak point in its sewers, the Blood Elf asked Lady Vashj for assistance. She sent her champion, High Warlord Nagentis, and a small group of Naga to guard the sewers. Under the command of Vashj, the Naga recently had begun to enslave the tribes of Broken in an effort to bolster the Naga workforce and further their agenda in Outland. Nearly all of the Waste Walker tribe had been captured and put to work to drain the waters of Zangarmarsh. The plan was to take control of the waters of Outland and through them, its people. To command the engineers who maintain and operate this machinery, Lady Vashj hired the renowned mechanier Steamrigger, a gifted gnome technician whose illness had damaged his sanity. Vashj herself carefully monitors Coilfang's operations from her seat of power within Serpentine Cavern. Far more at home here, among the waters of the reservoir than locked within the cold stone walls of the Black Temple, Vashj maintains a close eye on her minions and personally oversees draining Zangarmarsh. Lady Vashj would later partake in the battle that would destroy Warden Shadowsong's forces and result in the Warden's capture. During the invasion of Outland, adventurers invaded Serpentine Cavern where Vashj made her lair and slew the Coilfang matron, her dying breath an apology to her master.
Lord Illidan, I am sorry.
Shortly after her death, Vashj's soul arrived in Maldraxxus, an afterlife for those who value strength, serving the House of Eyes, who were the spy masters of the Necrolord Covenant. Although she could have returned to her Night Elf form in the afterlife, she chose to remain a Naga because it was in that form she was recognized for her cunning and resolve, whereas during her time as Calderay, she was praised only for her beauty. Vashj swiftly earned the rank of Baroness and came to serve the trusted hand of Margrave Anub'arak. The house's other Baroness was Draka, but she and Vashj did not get along. Anub'arak at one point sent Vashj to investigate mysterious behavior in the House of Rituals. Shortly after, the same house destroyed the House of Eyes and killed Anub'arak. Draka, following the Margrave's orders, went on to join the House of the Chosen, but Vashj saw this as Draka abandoning her loyalties and duties. Along with the group of surviving Eyes, including her servant Khalig, Vashj continued trying to complete her final mission by claiming revenge against Morbitan, the lich responsible for her house's fall. Draka eventually sent the Maulwalker to find Vashj in the Marsh of Glutharn's Decay, and recruits her to help the Chosen side, but Vashj refused to do so before her mission was complete. On the Baroness's request, the Maulwalker captured Morbitan's Lieutenant Mephiles, allowing Vashj to extract his memories and learn of a secret ritual Morbitan was planning at the nearby Rotting Mound. The Maulwalker and Baroness worked together to sabotage the ritual before luring the lich into the open and killing him. This act of deception empowered one of the runes on the Maulwalker's rune blade, which Vashj recognized as having been forged by Maldraxxus' lost ruler, the Primus. She admitted that this has changed things, and that the hero's help had earned her allegiance, and so she agreed to travel to the seat of the Primus to join her forces with Draka. Vashj and Khalig subsequently helped defend the seat when it was attacked by Baron Vyraz. And that is it. That is the story of Lady Vashj. So far, maybe we'll see more of her as Shadowlands content comes out. But until then, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, check me out on Twitch. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.